Jamal Roberts.
We are bringing you an exclusive investigative report on one of the most stunning television upsets of the entire decade. Imagine stepping onto the absolute most intimidating stage in national television, pulling in a completely staggering 26 million votes and entirely shattering network voting records overnight. That was the highly unprecedented reality for a humble physical education teacher who completely dominated the 23rd season of the massive singing competition franchise. He was absolutely not just another highly manufactured reality show champion churned out by a corporate machine. He was a historic vocal powerhouse who officially became the second African-American male winner in the show's broadcast history. However, the notoriously ruthless commercial music industry has historically chewed up and aggressively spit out countless competition winners over the years, leaving them completely abandoned once the cameras go dark. This deeply concerning trend leaves millions of highly dedicated fans desperately wondering exactly what happened to Jamal Roberts after the confetti was swept away. Did he inevitably fall victim to the highly documented reality television curse that has completely destroyed so many promising careers? Or did he secretly navigate the highly treacherous waters of the entertainment business to build a massive musical empire? Long before he was a highly recognizable household name commanding national headlines, Jamal was actively living a deeply grounded, incredibly normal everyday life, entirely far away from the blinding Hollywood lights. He was a fiercely dedicated physical education coach actively working at Crestwood Elementary School in Meridian, Mississippi. Completely outside of the noisy school gymnasium, his entire world deeply revolved around being an incredibly devoted, highly present father to 3 young girls. He frequently explicitly described being a father as the absolute greatest, most profoundly important thing that had ever happened to his life, balancing his unconditional love for his beautiful daughters with his deeply burning, highly undeniable passion for vocal performance. He grew up actively discovering his massive vocal talent through his deeply supportive grandparents, regularly singing in his local church choir. Despite his immense natural talent, he grew up heavily surrounded by the incredibly harsh, deeply unforgiving realities of economic struggle and community hardship in his local neighborhood. He made a highly conscious decision early on to become a dedicated provider of immense hope for his community, rather than giving in to heavy, suffocating despair. But the complex road to absolute national stardom was anything but an easy, paved path. The highly stylized, heavily edited television narrative often desperately tries to sell the viewing public a completely flawless, highly manufactured overnight success story. But our intensive journalistic investigation reveals that Jamal's professional journey actually required a massive, completely unshakable level of personal resilience. Most casual viewers and highly dedicated fans have absolutely no idea that his highly celebrated 23rd season appearance was absolutely not his very first attempt at trying to aggressively break into the highly guarded commercial music industry. He had actually bravely auditioned for the highly intimidating, deeply heavily scrutinized singing competition on 2 completely separate occasions prior to his massive victory. During his highly devastating second brutal attempt in the audition room, the notoriously critical judging panel unexpectedly, aggressively demanded to hear a completely different second song, because he simply had not adequately prepared a secondary vocal arrangement. He was actively handed a highly crushing, deeply public professional setback that would have easily completely permanently destroyed the artistic ambitions of a significantly weaker individual. Furthermore, our extensive background research confirms that prior to his massive network television dominance, he had already actively battled through the highly intense pressure cooker of reality television by successfully making it all the way to the highly coveted top 3 on the heavily watched gospel competition series, Sunday Best. This highly critical, deeply exhausting prior television experience aggressively, actively prepared his highly fragile nervous system for the incredibly massive, completely suffocating psychological pressure of the national broadcast stage. Instead of allowing these incredibly harsh, deeply painful industry rejections to permanently destroy his massive dreams, he brilliantly actively utilized the intense, deeply agonizing disappointment as highly combustible fuel to completely meticulously refine his vocal craft. He entirely locked himself away, aggressively focusing on completely expanding his massive vocal range and deeply perfecting his highly unique stage presence. He was absolutely fiercely determined to actively ensure that the next time he stepped directly in front of highly influential industry gatekeepers, they would have absolutely no choice but to completely surrender to his massive, undeniable talent. And exactly what happened when he finally bravely returned to that highly intimidating audition room would completely rewrite the entire established history of the massive television franchise forever, actively setting into motion a completely unprecedented chain of highly historic industry events. When he confidently stepped back onto the massive, heavily illuminated broadcast stage, our reporters noted that he completely successfully deployed a brilliantly calculated, highly sophisticated musical strategy, heavily designed to completely entirely avoid being unfairly pigeonholed into a single, highly restrictive vocal genre. He completely flawlessly, incredibly effortlessly transitioned from aggressively singing deeply soulful Rick James classics directly into highly emotional Jelly Roll anthems, and even completely successfully tackled highly demanding Carrie Underwood country ballads. This massive, completely undeniable display of sheer vocal versatility completely aggressively forced the entire voting nation to pay absolute, undivided attention to his highly magnetic presence. His incredibly relentless, deeply exhausting professional hustle officially perfectly culminated on the highly historic night of May 18, 2025, when he officially, completely undeniably won the entire massive television competition, successfully actively defeating fellow highly talented finalists John Foster and Brina Nix in a completely fiercely contested broadcast battle. This was absolutely not just a standard, highly routine network television victory. He successfully actively pulled in a completely mind-blowing, highly staggering 26 million individual viewer votes. This completely unprecedented massive surge of highly dedicated public support completely set a massive, highly historic new voting record for the current network broadcast version of the massive reality show. Even more profoundly, he officially became the absolute first African-American male winner to successfully claim the highly coveted television crown, since the legendary Ruben Studdard originally completely dominated the highly watched broadcast all the way back in 2003. Winning the massive, highly publicized competition also officially successfully secured him a highly lucrative, deeply life-changing $125,000 cash prize, completely actively instantly transforming his family's entire financial trajectory overnight. However, as our seasoned entertainment journalists deeply know all too well, the absolute real, highly terrifying industry test was just about to aggressively begin. The massive, highly protective television bubble had officially completely violently popped, and he was now actively completely forced to heavily navigate the incredibly dark, highly predatory waters of the mainstream commercial recording industry, entirely on his own terms. The immediate, highly chaotic aftermath of a massive reality television victory is notoriously incredibly dangerous for highly vulnerable new artists, but our intensive tracking of his post-show career data proves that Jamal completely aggressively defied the terrible, highly documented industry odds. Following his massive, highly celebrated television victory, he quickly actively released a breathtaking, deeply profoundly emotional recorded cover of the highly acclaimed Tom Odell track titled Heal. This incredibly powerful, highly anticipated initial commercial release did not just casually softly enter the lower ranks of the industry streaming charts. It completely aggressively, violently skyrocketed directly to the absolute highly coveted #1 spot on the fiercely competitive Billboard Hot Gospel Songs chart. Highly respected industry critics and massive legions of dedicated global fans alike were absolutely completely mesmerized by his incredibly, uniquely warm, deeply heavily textured vocal delivery. Prominent entertainment journalists and highly seasoned industry commentators even actively heavily began specifically comparing his massive, completely undeniable viral momentum directly to Fantasia's incredibly iconic, highly historic breakout broadcast moment back in 2004. He completely successfully, seamlessly transitioned his massive, highly manufactured television hype directly into highly legitimate, completely undeniable chart-topping commercial success, fiercely proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was entirely completely capable of actively navigating the fierce, highly cutthroat commercial music business. He aggressively refused to be entirely permanently labeled as just another highly disposable television karaoke singer, actively deliberately choosing to heavily align himself with highly respected, deeply authentic musical producers who completely respected his heavily gospel-infused artistic vision. This incredibly massive, highly strategic initial chart victory actively, completely successfully silenced the highly cynical industry gatekeepers who had heavily initially aggressively doubted his long-term commercial viability completely outside of the highly protective television format. And exactly what he miraculously accomplished next in his highly explosive career trajectory would completely forever solidify his absolute status as a completely highly legitimate, deeply respected industry titan on the massive global music stage, completely refusing to be entirely creatively satisfied or to simply casually ride the fatting wave of his initial massive television victory. Our investigation reveals that Jamal actively aggressively continued pushing massive artistic boundaries directly into the following calendar year. Moving aggressively into 2026, he officially successfully released a stunning, highly anticipated live vocal collaboration with the deeply respected Jonathan McReynolds titled Still. This highly complex, deeply, incredibly, profoundly moving musical track completely successfully captured the absolute undivided attention of the absolute most prestigious, highly guarded gatekeepers in the entire commercial music industry. This massive critical acclaim officially successfully entirely secured him a massive, highly prestigious Grammy Award nomination for Best Gospel Performance in Song. Successfully aggressively going from actively working in a noisy local elementary school gymnasium in Mississippi directly to officially actively securing a highly coveted Grammy nomination in such a remarkably, incredibly short period of time is an absolutely terrifyingly rare, completely unprecedented industry achievement. Yet through all the massive global recognition, highly lucrative brand deals, and heavily flashing camera lights, he actively never once completely forgot exactly who he was fiercely fighting for. Today, Jamal actively fiercely continues his completely unstoppable artistic streak by deliberately aggressively utilizing his massive global platform to openly heavily celebrate his deep, unconditional love for his three beautiful daughters, Harmony, Lyric, and Gianna. He actively fiercely proved that heavily drawing immense emotional strength from actively seeing his family's highly supportive faces heavily shining in the massive broadcast crowd was the absolute ultimate secret key to his massive, undeniable career longevity. He actively released deeply highly personal, incredibly profoundly emotional singles like Head Up, Perfect for Me, and the highly celebrated track Girl Dad, deeply cementing his fiercely authentic, highly grounded family man brand. He has completely successfully aggressively broken the notorious reality television curse, successfully completely transforming from a heavily initially doubted broadcast contestant directly into a fiercely unstoppable, highly respected Grammy-nominated global superstar. Ultimately, the massive, highly intimidating television stage was absolutely never his final, ultimate destination. It was simply the incredibly powerful, highly effective launching pad for a fiercely devoted father, who entirely absolutely refused to ever completely give up on his incredibly beautiful, heavily undeniable vocal gift.